Hey everybody, I'm Andy Smith. I'm a 30-year comic book veteran, having worked for Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Image Comics, Cross Generation, Ominous Press. You name it, I've probably worked for them. And I do other things art-wise outside of comics in the field of advertising. I've also written some books on drawing comics you might have seen. Drawing American manga superheroes, Drawing Dynamic Comics was my first book. And I also did the handy little How to Draw Superhero sketchbook where all you need is a pencil because you do all the work right inside the book. Enough about that. This is the Book Look series. The Book Look series is where I grab a book off my library. You can see the tons of books I have behind me. And I go through it page by page with you so you can see if it's a book that you might want to buy. I like to know what I want to buy before I buy it, and I feel this is a way to give you some insight into these books. So join me for today's book look. Thanks. Well, howdy do everybody. This is Andy Smith, your 32-year veteran of the comic book industry, and we are here with another book look of a Walter Foster book. These are oversized, around 11 by 14, maybe a little bigger books, very thin, only like 30 pages. You remember last week I did one. I've got a few of these from the 50s when they originally came out for a whole $1, not more than $1.25 in any foreign country. So moving on with this series, Figures from Life by Robert Duflos and Walter Foster. Now, Walter probably was just the publisher. I got these once again. There's always nuggets that you can learn from when you pick up something like this. And the art is just so classic. Let's see. A little introduction. Introduction by Walter Foster. No one starts out in art much ahead of the next fellow, and you will get ahead much faster if you do not try to rest on the fact that your folks think you are a Michelangelo of the 20th century. Didn't all our parents tell us, oh my God, everything you do is just fantastic? They might have, but they're your parents. What else are they going to say? Basically, join an art class, evening or day, or start one. Let's see, jumping down to here, as you can see by Robert Duflos's painting, not all Frenchmen in Paris have gone so-called modern. I wanted Robert to do this entire book and have the directions in French and English, but the language barriers seem to have stopped that idea, even between the two of us. So another beautiful dream became a cropper, so you will find many of my drawings also in this book. There you go. Finally, we get to see Walter Foster's drawings. This almost looks like it's a real signature. It's not. This is one of his drawings. This is what I like. People struggle with flesh tone. I am one of them. And of course, flesh tone changes depending on the lighting that the flesh is under and such. I mean, if it's cool blue light, well, you're not going to have warm flesh tones. But you know, sometimes when you're doing a drawing or a commission, you're just using, say, a generic flesh tone that'll just work, you know, in most situations. Like this, where there is no background to it. The hair, he says, burnt sienna, raw umber, or black. I do like this outline in a red pencil. That's cool. It gives it a nice line, gives it a nice style. And in yellow ochre with a touch of vermilion for flesh tints. Add burnt sienna and a touch of light green for shadowed part of body after first coat. Or wash is almost dry so it'll not leave hard edges. If you wish a smooth wash brush on a wash of clear water, let soak in, then wash on the color. So it's very cool. Nice little tips there. Let's see, this is, so this is a painting by Robert, and you can see he breaks it down here. Obviously, he's very experienced with basics like that, but you can see how he's breaking the planes up. I'm sorry, it goes down. It should have probably went this way. You see how he breaks the planes up with the shadows, washes more color over it, and then eventually, pretty big jump from here to here, but it gets to this nice finished part. The first line you draw and build the figure on is the spine. The next is the shoulder line and seat line. And I do kind of construct figures that way. Third, the waist, and if right-handed, the left side of the figure, then the right. If left-handed, vice versa. This way you're not trying to measure the part that your hand is over. I see Mr. Duflos uses violet and burnt umber for shadows, then blends in yellow, orange, and white, giving a very lovely flesh tone using burnt umber, burnt sienna with a touch of carmine for shadows on the body. Background of green, blue, and Naples yellow. The drape is chrome yellow and orange and white to lighten. So I guess Walter Foster is translating everything. So I kind of like this because so far, and I haven't looked at this book in a long time, you get the little swatches here for the full color palette he's using. And you do get the step-by-step. I mean, once again, there really should be more steps from D to the finish. So now we got A, B, but it should be C, D. And now, yeah. Book designers weren't a big deal back then, I guess. He just says, the more you know about drawing, the easier these step sketches will be for you, as well as the finished picture. And he talks about how you can do it in oils, watercolors, pastels, whichever you prefer, basically. These paintings by Robert Duflos are in oils and are twice the size as you see them here. So that's twice up. So it's basically almost the size of this book. Because you figure twice up, you could kind of pull this over, you get it. But it is oil. Very classical figure drawing as well. I do not know how old the artist was when he actually created these. Let's see how they did this one. A, B, C, D. All right. So we've gone from A, B, C, D to A, B, C, D to finally the right way, A, B, C, D. Nice. I'm not going to read all the descriptions, but what I like is they are describing the colors that the artist used to get to the final product to do these paintings. So... and I love seeing the steps of blocking in the shadows and then tinting over and such. Now, I don't know if these were done specifically for this book or not. They might have been, or little inside baseball. He could have taken a painting like this and then said, this is a good one for the book, and then worked these. And that's why you don't see another stage after D to the finish. All right, what do we get in here? Don't be surprised or discouraged if you do not come out too good on sketches. No professional artist expects all sketches to be good. In fact, if he gets 1/4 good, he's happy. But remember, often the ones you spoil, you learn the most from. That is true. You need to, and these are by Walter Foster. When you're first sketching and stuff, and even doing finished drawings, don't beat yourself up if they're not all how you envision them. I've been doing this for 32 years, and I still, there are days where it just flows out of the pencil, and I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. And there are days where it is a real struggle. And then there's days which are more often right in between where it's not a real struggle, but I'm using my eraser. I'm going back checking things and such. So there you go. He's talking, this is cool. This beautiful fountain is one of 2 that are at my new shipping and printing plant on the Santa Ana Freeway. Oh, there you go. So he's just, you know, basically kind of sketching from life. Walter Foster again. Somebody decided to mark it up, it looks like. Watercolors and pastels, hard or soft, have many advantages. You can work the pastels over the watercolors and get new effects. And on the figure above, I will leave the pastel strokes so you can see how they were put on. Then on your picture, you can rub with finger or stump to smooth out. I know Bud Root does stuff like that. I think Aaron basically will do watercolors with colored pencil over top, kind of the same. So it's very interesting to see the different ways you can approach it. I still really enjoy the red line here he's using for the outline. And then just more, just nice drawings showing shading, getting your tones down. This is what charcoal, and then blocking in the lighting and such. And then we have another one from Mr. Duflos. Oh, A, B, C, D. Why, Walter Foster, would you lay the book out that way? It's not artistic. It's not stylish. It's confusing. Yeah, I know that's A. I mean, I can tell visually where to go, but you want to make it as simple as possible for the reader. A, B, C, D. Oh, sorry if I keep hounding that. Once again, I like seeing the block in here. I like seeing the little swatches. He decides ahead of time, these are the colors I'll be using, and going from there. And here he talks about the colors and stuff he's using. So it's cool because you can grab these colors, whether it be oil, acrylics, watercolor, and try to work along mimicking this. Going into anatomy, I mean, one, it's a book. Well, it is figure drawing. It's not just about the female pinup like the first book from last week was. Going into anatomy probably should be first. You know, you want to learn that stuff before you move on, but that's okay. He goes into it some. For 2 pages. Let's see. It is best to have a scrap of the same kind of paper you're working on to mix and try out the watercolor you're using. Remember to wet the space you wish to cover with clear water or light yellow ochre unless you want a hard line. Over the yellow ochre, put a wash of vermilion. This makes a good flesh color. After it dries, use a touch of green with burnt sienna for shadows. He went over that before. It is true when you're doing watercolor, you do, unless you want a hard line, it's good if you want smooth blends to wet the area, not over the whole thing, but inside the form you're painting. If you run over your lines, clean out with clear water and an oil bristle brush. They call this scrubbing. Do not depend on this too much because it can mess up the paper. He's not saying that. I am. But yeah, so if you go over a line, you can take an oil brush that's a little harder, clear water, and kind of scrub at it to pull the watercolor up. And that's oil, of course. And this one's actually painted by somebody else, Russell Iredell, 1945. Love the technique in the hair. And then for some reason, we're bouncing back to anatomy. Did they print this book out of order? It almost seems that way, but I'm sure it wasn't. This is very Bern Hogarth looking. So if this is Walter Foster, I'm assuming he might have been looking at some Hogarth, the way the abs are in the leg and stuff. This is a 7.5 heads high figure. You know, heroes, 8 heads or higher. But here, this is 7.5. This looks more George Bridgman, these legs, than Burn Hogarth. And back to woman. This is an oil painting 3 times the size of this, so really big. Let's see, A, B, C, D. Look at that, going through in order. And this one actually breaks down a little paragraph for each. I've been spinning around so you guys can see that better. Breaks down a paragraph for each step. So that's cool. And then, you know, just the bottom painting there doesn't really have a paragraph, just says how big it was done. This is not one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this one. It doesn't look finished to me. And then we're closing in on the end of this bad boy. Let's see. Dear friends and gentle people. This page shows most of the mediums used in painting and drawing. And after once dabbling in color, you will never be quite satisfied with just black and white. So basically, this is cool. It's divided up. So soft pastel here, watercolor. So wait. Soft pastel is in this quadrant. This is more watercolor, oil paints. So kind of take you through the different mediums and what they look like on the same person. Of course, this is cool. Actual size of the original and is a pastel. So this whole piece is pastel. I've used pastel 30 some years ago when I was in the Kubert school. And, you know, I wasn't that good at it, but it's also was the first time after, you know, high school art class, I was using the stuff. And, you know, I went to school to be a comic book artist, not to really do pastels. Never really got into them. I do like watercolor and oil and acrylic, even though I haven't done that stuff in a long time either. Maybe when I retire, I'll become one of those guys that just paints landscapes or something. Here we go. This is nice. This one really takes you through kind of the painting process. So the drawing's already done. So this is pretty cool. I like it. Very, very green here. And then she's done, for some reason, this guy, well, this was probably the 40s. And this is pastel. Oh, this is the one from the previous page. So we got to see. Oh, I would have laid this book out differently. Where was it? Oh, here it is. So that's the actual size of that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. That is the thing with pastel. Very soft, almost out of focus blur to it. Nothing's really that sharp. This is weird drawing in here, the way the center line rolls around and stuff. It's a little funky in there. But hey, still a nice pinup piece. And it, wait a second. One of Mr. Duflos' clever ways of using a model and mirror. This may be too difficult for you for some time, but give it a try. So there you go. He painted the backside, or pasteled, whatever. Did the backside of her, so that's kind of neat. And that's this book. Here's a list of other Walter Foster books. I'm guessing this is from the 50s. There is no page or no copyright date on these, and I was right. It's about 11 by 14, roughly 10 1/4, 13 3/4. So close enough. Next week, another one of these books will be gone through. Like I said, I've got a few of these classic old drawing books. Let's see what the next one's going to be. We'll go with this one next week. Drawing the Figure by Russell Iredell. He had a painting featured in this book. So next week, this book. Until then, guys, please check out my campaign, Kor-Drath, The Reckoning. 76 pages. As I like to say, ball-busting, barbarian, bombastic action. Kor-Drath, he belongs to the Red Lions tribe. And when he was out with the lovely Adriana on a quest for the tribe, when they returned, they saw that his whole tribe had been slaughtered by a legion of the undead. And now he is out for blood, for vengeance, to find out who did this to his tribe, who set upon this legion of the undead upon his tribe to slaughter them all. He wants to find out. He will stop at nothing. It is a mystery with layers that he has to unfold. You can read the book and play the game. Kor-Drath is also a role-playing game. My buddy, my co-creator, Dennis Turner, is writing the companion module, game module that you can play. Check out the campaign. Links in the description below. You can read pages 1 through 8 on the campaign page and read pages 1 through 11 on Kor-Drath.com. Thank you guys for joining me. Please like, subscribe, and share these videos. And check me out on all social media at AndySmithArt.com. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I will catch you guys next week. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.